The last time Stillwater and Cretin-Derham Hall met in girls basketball, the Ponies hit the century mark. We'll see what happens in this round. It's an early Suburban East Conference tilt with the 4-2 Stillwater area Ponies, one of the top 10 members in Class 4A, against the Cretin-Derham Hall Raiders. Greetings, everyone. I'm Mike Peden, joined once again by Olivia Antilla, the Florida A&M graduate and 2010 state tournament champion with Benilde St. Margaret's. Olivia, you could say the newest fan of Alexis Pratt after the Stillwater-Farmington game, and folks are wondering who might take over as the face of the team in the early going. So far, it has been Alexis Pratt for the Ponies.
It has been. She's been able to translate her defense into offense and been able to give the team sparks when they need it most, and that's seen on both ends of the floor.
Averaging over 20 points per game. She had 7 steals against Farmington. The combination of speed, agility, control, one reason why she is one of the top guards in the junior class.
Exactly.
Cretin-Derham Hall, they don't have a lot of height after Franny Heidinger graduated. She's now getting buckets for Lehigh, but they bring a lot of speed. Sydney Jackson, one of the fastest sprinters on the track circuit. And TK Mason, Nevaeh Meister, coming over from Tartan. Audrey Martinez-Stewart, another pest for the Raiders. And that speed is going to be tough to contain.
It is, and we will see how Stillwater combats that with their height. Whereas seeing Cretin-Derham Hall is a lot smaller than Stillwater, it will be a game of who uses their strengths the best and weakens the opponent's strengths.
With that said, what will this game come down to?
I believe this game will come down to one who limits their turnovers. In both games I've seen of teams, they struggled with unforced turnovers. So who's going to control the ball, and then also who is going to control the rebounds. We saw Stillwater versus Farmington struggle on the boards, and then due to Cretin-Derham Hall being smaller, are they going to be able to contain Stillwater on the boards? So turnovers and rebounds.
We'll see what happens, but given the craziness in the Suburban East, a win for the Ponies would give them a chance to assume control early. We'll be back to start things off. This is high school girls basketball. Twin Cities Sports Broadcasting, and a whole lot more. That's what you get from TSB Television. We provide long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. Dazzling moves. Holloman, good if it goes. Yes! Game winners. James, she's in trouble. Finds James, toss shot, it goes in! And everything in between. Before we let you go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Oh, I don't know. That put me on the spot there.
If you want to connect with our audience, visit us at patreon.com/TSB Television or sponsor our coverage through PayPal and Cash App. Thank you for watching.
Here are tonight's starting lineups.
And we rejoin you from the stable. Mike Peden and Olivia Antilla with you. Olivia, you've had a chance to see some early season games since you are a free agent. What are your observations so far?
There is a lot of high-quality teams this season and a lot of teams who will have a lot of what we call upset games because they are under the radar and have a lot of players who aren't recognized. And so I think there's a lot that could happen within this year of girls' state basketball.
Who are some of the sleeper teams we should keep an eye on?
Like in the Northwest Suburban Conference, I think if Champlin Park consistently makes shots, that is one team. Other teams are Roseville, who last year was a contender, but I think with their returners, they will make some noise. Out in the far way, Orono in their conference with Holy Family losing a bunch of players, they will make some noise. And then Holy Angels came out to a good start this season with how many players they've returned and new players stepping up to the plate.
Well, Roseville having some rough goings in the early part of the season, losing to Eastridge, losing to Waconia. A lot of folks thought they would be one of the top teams in Class 4A, and they still could. It is early. Holy Angels, I wouldn't be surprised if they make a deep run in 3A. Let's take a look at the starting five for the Cretin-Derham Hall Raiders, the visiting team. It's Sydney Jackson, number 1. Anna Colon, number 12. Tootie Lewis, number 13. Audrey Martinez-Stewart, number 24. And number 35, TK Mason. Stillwater, same 5 as last time, so you'll see Alexis Pratt, number 0. Gianna Carr, number 20. Amber Scalia, number 21. Grace Cody, number 31. And Liza Karlen, the Marquette commit, number 32. Cretin-Derham Hall led by Audrey Martinez-Stewart and TK Mason, both averaging 12.5 points per game. And as we noted in the open, Alexis Pratt becoming one of the new faces for Stillwater. Well, she was a face last year, but now taking over as one of the leaders, averaging over 20 a game. She has 4 20-point games this season, including 3 in a row entering this game. Defensively, averaging 4.3 steals. You got your first chance to see her at the Farmington game, and it didn't take long for you to become an Alexis Pratt fan.
No, just the way she plays defense and the intensity she brings on both ends of the floor. I don't know how you couldn't like her as a player who gets after it as hard on defense as she does on offense. She reads the gaps well, and she's a good teammate and likes to fire up. So it should be interesting to see how she comes out and how Cretin defends her this game.
Cretin-Derham Hall wins the tip, and we're underway. Martinez-Stewart. The skip pass to Colin for 3. Short, but Martinez-Stewart is there for the putback. Martinez-Stewart showed glimpses of her potential as a sophomore last year. Amber Scalia 3-ball, corner pocket.
And that is a good sign for Stillwater. As we saw versus Farmington in the first half, they struggled making shots, so it's a good sign to see them coming out and hitting shots right away.
And even with the arrival of Liza Karlen last year, as TK Mason looks for the answer, can't get it. 3-point shooting has been Stillwater's identity on offense. If they knock down threes, they can hang with the best of them. If they're not falling, they can run into some trouble. And we saw a lot of that from Sarah Scalia the last 2 years. Alexis Pratt thought about it and said they worked their way inside, and that's where Stillwater will have the edge tonight. Karlen doesn't have to worry about a 6'4" frame like Sophie Hart in this matchup.
Exactly.
I had a chance to see Hopkins Farmington on Friday. Hopkins won convincingly. A lot of folks believe they will go undefeated in Class 4A, and they very well could. But you and I both know it's one thing to proclaim it on paper. It's another to play the games.
Exactly. You never know what is going to happen, especially that rivalry between them and Wayzata that happens every year, and teams will get fired up to play them. And so, of course, Hopkins is being coached to never look past any team and to come out the way they can.
Pratt's 3 off the mark. Well, look what happened to the Minnehaha Academy boys team,
which was a complete shocker, I think, to the whole United States of America.
Maybe not that far, but it was a big shock if you haven't followed hoops that closely. Cretin-Derham Hall, though, they're no pushovers.
They
added Javon Hadley and Trey Holloman, Crystal Flint's son. Crystal Flint, the head coach of the girls team, had a monster game. Grace Cody missing the 3. Karlen with the O-board. Carr, baseline jumper. Missed everything. Pratt getting the O-board. Right place, right time, and she'll shoot 2.
Fouls at 13, Tootie Lewis.
Tootie Lewis hit with a foul. Alexis Pratt, 21 points per game. From 2-point range, she's shooting about 50%. 3-point range, working on that. Her free throws off to a better start this year than last year. Last year, she was averaging just under 70% in the early part of the season, 82.1.
Nice. You want to keep your free throws above 80%.
Or if you're Elena Deladon, then 95 is your benchmark.
Right? I mean, who would give that up?
How accurate were you as a free throw shooter? What was your percentage?
It varied, but I typically always kept it above 70%. In my latter years at FAMU, it was above 80%.
I remember years ago, the old stereotype about post players who couldn't shoot. There's a Cretin player who can shoot. It's Nevaeh Meister. She's been coming off the bench, working her way back from injury before the season, but Meister brings a three-point threat to the Raiders, much like she did for the Tartan Titans the last 3 years. Liza Karlen with the mid-range day. But you remember the old days, your post players, no one thought they could knock down free throws, and now everybody's doing it.
Right.
Sydney Jackson for 3. That's going to be a foul on Carr. Colin will shoot 2. We're seeing a lot of three-point shots, and it looks like there's some nerves to sort through here. We're seeing a lot of air balls.
Yes. The chills might still be on players from outside, so still getting
cold.
warmed up.
Anna Colin knocks down the front end.
And that is another way that Cretin will stay in this game, is staying active on the rebounds and getting to the free throw line.
Anna Colin, a member of Lotus, a mental health awareness club, the school newspaper, and the National Honor Society at Cretin-Derham Hall. She also has a dog named Lacey, who is a golden doodle. And if that wasn't enough, Anna Colin can also play the piano and guitar.
Oh, nice.
Much like Frankie Vassalero at Cretin-Derham Hall.
Maybe.
I mean, Holy Angels, Holy Angels. Having a little bit of trouble with the School Space Media Board. Meister, 3-ball. Oh, almost went in. 9-7. Cretin-Derham Hall over Stillwater.
And there she goes.
Blinking, you'll miss her. Almost literally. We said this would be a high-pace, high-tempo matchup.
Alexis Pratt shoots 2.
Last time they played, Stillwater hit the century mark. Franny Hottinger set a school record for points in a single game with 51. Franny, Cretin-Derham Hall's all-time leading scorer, and one of many Minnesota recruits to go to Lehigh. And Lehigh will add another to their ranks next year in Mackenzie Kramer over at St. Michael Albertville. Pratt, a perfect 4-4 from the stripe. Meister lost the handle, and Mason able to recover it. Good thing she did, otherwise I'm not sure Meister might have been called for double dribble.
Right.
There's Martinez Stewart working the perimeter. Jackson, hesitation, 3-ball. Martinez Stewart can't knock it down. Olivia Allen in the game for the Raiders. Amber Scalia looking to push. Cody, the bounce pass to Pratt. TK Mason with the rejection. It will stay Stillwater ball. Now that's a situation. Mason probably can get blocks on someone like Pratt.
Exactly.
Against Roseville,
Maybe not.
with UGAS and Jada Johnston, right, different story. Cody, NAIA Mayville State recruit, lays it in.
Good take. She found the gap against the zone, and she took it.
Mason, over to Meister. The two were teammates at Tartan for a couple of years. Entry feed intercepted by Grace Cody. Meister threw too hard on that pass. And Pratt finds Karlen for 3. Got it.
That's exactly what she can do, and she's shown it early. Her inside-out game, the ability to make moves inside, but then also stretch beyond the 3 and knock down that shot.
Alexis Pratt, 3.3 assists per game. She and Amber Scalia, the primary distributors for the Ponies. 12:49 to go, and a quick 7-0 run for Stillwater gives them a 16-7 lead. That may not surprise you looking at where the two teams are, but we have a long way to go.
We do.
And we'll be here on Friday, well, I will be anyway, for live coverage of their game with Roseville. That will be a big one, although with Roseville suffering some losses early in the season, including Eastridge, that jumbling in the Suburban East could open the door for Stillwater. Liza Karlen, a swimming and basketball crossover, captain of the swim team. Martinez Stewart. The skip to Mason, 15-footer's good.
That was a really good possession for Cretin-Derham Hall. They didn't let Stillwater's defense cause them to rush. They stayed patient, worked the defense, and found that open 15-footer.
Cody missing the three. Karlen to Pratt. Back to Karlen. Give Karlen another triple. Her second, she's up to 10. And another dime to Pratt. Foul on Carr.
That's her second.
And Willie Taylor not pleased about that. Willie Taylor, longtime figure in coaching, member of the Hall of Fame for the Coaches Association. Picked up his 500th career win when Stillwater beat River Falls in a runaway. We'll see if he gets another 500. Meister. Out to TK Mason. Jump ball, Cretin-Derham Hall with the arrow. I should say Stillwater with the arrow. I'm getting my directions crossed. Cretin-Derham Hall, led by Crystal Flint in her second season as head coach. Alexis Pratt comes up just short. But that is a sign to watch out for her speed. Mason, long two,
That
switch.
was a good move.
Mason played an instrumental role in Cretin-Derham Hall's season-opening victory over St. Louis Park. She scored 17 points, helped them come back from 10 down. Liza Karlen takes it herself and will shoot two. Liza Karlen,
34, Olivia.
as we noted, a swimming basketball crossover. Her younger sister playing JV varsity, although she's recovering from a rolled ankle suffered in the Farmington game.
Number 1, Sydney Jackson, and number 21, Abby Klein for the Raiders.
Two of Karlen's idols in the sport are Elena Deladon and Missy Franklin, who had that incredible 2012 Olympic run.
21, Amber Scalia for the Ponies.
Stillwater, 6 of 6 from the line. Karlen, 12 points. For the moment, she's outscoring Cretin-Derham Hall by herself.
And she's definitely showing great signs of aggressiveness this game, taking it coast rim to rim, shooting the three and demanding the ball inside. It's good to see her wanting it and demanding the ball.
Well, much like Alexis Pratt, Liza Karlen, one of the central figures for Stillwater without Sarah Scalia. She steps into a 15-footer. That's off the mark, and the rebound goes to number 21. Mason feeds inside to 21. And 21 not listed. We'll see if we can figure out who that is.
Number 11, Anna Caruso in for Cretin-Derham Hall.
Here's Anna Caruso. Anna led the Raiders in scoring against Cretin-Derham Hall coming off the bench. In the Holy Angels game, that is. 3 for Karlen. It's there.
That is now 3 for 3 from the three-point line for her, coming from all different areas of the floor.
Caruso, fouled by Karlen. And Karlen catching her breath there.
Also 32, Liza Karlen.
This Stillwater team,
Number 12,
they can run the floor, they can put up points in a hurry. They scored 74 in a loss to Farmington. They scored 97 in a 97-69 win over Woodbury. They were up by 40 at one point.
The thing about Stillwater is because of their speed and athleticism, and also they have multiple players who can lead them in scoring. Although Alexis Pratt has led the way, they have multiple other players who can on any given night score 15 and above for them.
Scalia and Karlen are two of those players. TK Mason trying to make things work. Rebound goes to her. Holder with the block. Scramble for the ball, won by the Raiders. Colin, Willie Taylor wanted to travel, and from here it looked like she shoveled her feet, but we play on. Audrey Martinez-Stewart takes it to the rim.
That's a good matchup between her and Alexis Pratt, both similar height, but then also same speed.
Dead ball rebound to the Raiders. Go ahead.
Which you don't see very often with someone being able to match either of their speeds.
Well, Cretin-Derham Hall certainly can. Martinez-Stewart, elbow J. I thought she was a little off balance there. Amber Scalia to Pratt. Pump fake. Reset for the Ponies. Here's Mary Foltz, Missouri Western commit. She gets on the board there.
Good move. Didn't settle for the three-pointer. Attacked and got the better shot.
Martinez-Stewart to Mason. And shooting free throws will be Anna Caruso. Anna Caruso, here's a fun fact, has visited 49 of the 50 states that represent the good old USA.
Do you know the one that's missing?
I don't. My first guess would be Alaska or Hawaii.
Right. That is super cool and not something that most high schoolers or most people in general can say.
Also plays for the softball team. Softball team made it to the section final and beat Stillwater the first time they met in section play. And you know baseball softball is double elimination. So Stillwater had to beat them twice in the section final to advance, and they did. But a lot of multi-sport athletes at Cretin-Derham Hall. Liza Karlen lost her balance, so that means a do-over for Caruso.
And she makes it count.
So that puts Caruso on the board. 8:10 to go in the first half. Ponies lead the Raiders by 12. Amber Scalia is fouled and will shoot two. Scalia, another basketball softball crossover. And speaking of softball, Stillwater finishing second a year ago, losing to Maple Grove in the 4A final. That team led by Allison Benning, the Oregon commit. Benning played basketball the first couple of years, decided to step away to focus on softball, and when you have a D1 softball scholarship awaiting you, I don't blame you.
Right, not at all.
Scalia missing, but more free throws coming. Let's see what Liza Karlen can do. And again, that's the difference. Stillwater having the height advantage in this matchup. That won't be the case when Stillwater plays Wayzata on January 3rd or Hopkins on January 18th. I know you're looking forward to that one.
I am. That should be a good matchup and a very exciting game.
Willie Taylor said he's not looking forward to being in the Hall of Fame Classic because they have to play Hopkins, which is a very Willie Taylor answer.
Right.
So Karlen knocks down the free throw. She's 4 for 4. Pratt's 4 for 4. Ponies 8 of 10 overall. Stillwater's pressure gets to the Raiders. Amber Scalia collects the ball and lost her balance. And a foul was called on Lizzie Holder. That's a break for the Raiders. Holder, it looked like the ball was going to head to Maester, and Holder was waiting for her to touch it because then she could pick it up. And that choice backfires. She goes to the bench. But no harm, no foul. Cretin-Derham Hall throws it away.
But I do love how both teams are getting after it defensively, and you can hear the coaches saying, apply ball pressure, get up, get up. And so that's good to see it. And it makes it a better, interesting game when people are applying tough defense.
Both coaching staffs, both benches have a lot of experience at their side. Cretin-Derham Hall in transition. Sydney Jackson with the finish.
And that's what tough defense does. Turns into steals, which turn to wide open layups.
High-low from Pratt to Karlen, you bet.
And I'm surprised they have not done that earlier throughout this game. Although Karlen does already have 19 points, I'm surprised that high-low hasn't been there with the seal.
Karlen still outscoring the Raiders. 19-16. Colin, fadeaway, no good. Carr with the rebound. Scalia, Pratt, now Mary Fultz for three, bullseye.
And that was a good extra pass by Pratt in the corner. She could have taken the shot, but her teammate was more open, and her teammate knocked it down.
And an unforced error on the part of the Raiders. As we noted, a lot of experience on the benches for both teams. Willie Taylor, the longtime figure for coaching, won 2 state titles at St. Paul Central, got Stillwater to their first state tournament in 31 years last winter. Amber Scalia working off the screen. Fultz looking to push inside. Gets her own rebound momentarily. It will stay Stillwater ball. Willie coached at Hamlin for a brief while. Crystal Flint. Her coaching experience includes stops at Concordia University and Minnesota. And you may have seen her as Amber Scalia fires the three in the short. You might have seen her out there, but Olivia, because she was an official for a long time.
Yes, she was.
Liza Karlen up and in. 21 points for Liza Karlen. She already has a season high. We're only in the first half.
It should be interesting to see how Cretin adjusts for the remainder of the game and then also the second half.
They might need to make adjustments sooner. 37-16. Stillwater over Cretin-Derham Hall. Now, this matchup was a lot different a year ago, but back then you had a D1 commit in Franny Hottinger, who went up against her old North Tartan teammates and Sarah Scalia and Liza Karlen. This year you've got a Raiders team working on a new identity. And getting TK Mason and Nevaeh Maester from Tartan certainly helped because it looked like they didn't have a whole lot at their disposal.
They keep showing signs of making that run back into the game, but then the unforced turnover that in the corner and then the unforced turnover here, that's what's setting them back. But they are showing signs of being able to get back in the game. But the turnovers, which I focused on in the beginning, and then rebounding, both of those are kind of becoming an Achilles for them right now.
So did Crystal officiate any of your games at Benilde St. Margaret's, Horacio?
I believe she did. I've seen so many refs in my time. I definitely know Crystal and her face, but to remember specifically if she reffed my games, I'm not 100% sure. But I've definitely seen her in the field and in different, with her coaching and the girls' camp she does and
the shooting stars.
Yep.
Well, and she got back into coaching after officiating because she wants to help the younger generation and You can only go so far as an official.
And there's Alexis Pratt with her first steal.
It's kind of crazy to think that that's only her first steal.
Right.
And how quickly she can get them. In fact, Pratt hasn't made a field goal yet. 1 steal and no field goals. But she's got a few dimes.
She does. And that's also a good sign of a good player, of when your teammates are hot, feeding them the ball, because she knows, like, the free throws are coming to her and that she'll get her moments, but finding those hot teammates because the win is bigger.
How about this? Pratt 6 of 6 from the line.
There's Pratt again with her second steal. But Cretin-Derham Hall, both teams are playing very good defense right now. Although the score may not dictate that, both have forced a lot of turnovers and have controlled their offensive possessions pretty well.
There's another one. Sydney Jackson intercepting the outlet pass. Give and go to Meister for the layup.
And this was what I was talking about the glimpses of coming back into the game. When they play like this, they are a team that is extremely capable.
They're looking for a dose of momentum. Liza Karlen will shoot 2 more.
Go to where it's hot. And she's 100% from the free throw line right now, too, as well, correct?
Well, she is 2 of 2. 4 of 4, yes.
Liza Karlen shoots 2.
Well, this is going to bump up her percentage. It was 471 coming in, but she only had 8 of 17. That leaves a little room for the numbers to move around.
Right. It's hard to bring percentages up.
And now I jinxed her.
And easy to bring it down.
I should know, working Major League Baseball in the spring, summer, and fall months. Meister stepped on the line. 40-18, our score. This game is almost like the Woodbury game when you look at the number of points Stillwater has put up, and they can add to that total here. Holder up, no good. Martinez Stewart with the rebound. Finds Meister for 3. Yes!
Good shot.
Meister for 3.
That's
Meister.
her second one in that spot.
Yes. Tie up. CDH ball. Did they hold the arrow, or did we have a foul there? No, it's a foul instead.
0, Alexis.
So the Raiders keep the arrow, and Pratt picks up her first foul. That's the last to give for the Ponies.
34, Olivia Allen.
Meister, as we noted, played at Tartan for 3 years. She and Azaria Chevry, who both started at Tartan, are the best of friends, and I'll never forget Meister told me a few years ago when I did a piece on Chevry. First time she saw her reaction was, who is this girl and why is she bigger than everybody else? I mean, Chevry is not a towering figure compared to Karlen or Maya Naji, but she was one of the biggest players for the Titans early on. Here's Liza Karlen showing a little ball handling on the dribble drive. 24 points. She's still outscoring Cretin-Derham Hall.
It is crazy.
Usually at this point, the numbers even out, but this is insane. Her previous season high was 15, and she's obliterating it here. Meister from the right side. Off the heel.
Good outlet pass.
Oh, Amber Scalia could not find Pratt. Now that's the equivalent of dropping a sure touchdown pass. You can live with that mistake when you're up by 21 and have all the momentum on your side, though.
Right. It's when those close games where you're really like, we need to get that back. But I'm sure Coach Taylor is still not happy with that turnover.
Well, he's a coach. I don't think they're ever happy. Three on the way. Caruso knocks it down.
Caruso, 4-3.
Here's Pratt. To Cody. Grace Cody made a splash in the state tournament last year, the quarterfinal and semifinal round. Whoa, Mason denying Liza Karlen there, and look who picks pockets and scores. It's Alexis Pratt, and she's pumped. That's her first field goal. That's 3 steals now, right, Olivia?
It is 3 steals for her now. And with TK Mason, that just shows why size does not matter. She stuck with it and didn't let Karlen's size defer her from playing good defense.
Oh, Cody had an opening, but waits for help instead. And dribbles it off her foot. Amber Scalia launches. Pure!
You just can't leave her open out there.
The Ponies putting on a clinic here in the first half. Caruso can't get the bounce. Could Stillwater get 50 here? We have a minute to go. Karlen for 3.
And she is just completely feeling it right now.
27 points. Alexis Pratt, another steal. Goes to Scalia. Oh, board. And the 15-footer by Cody. This is ridiculous.
Just Stillwater is connecting on all cylinders in this first half. They're making shots. They're playing defense. They're rebounding. They're finding the hot players. They are going to be hard to guard if they can put these 2 halves together.
Pratt on the transition bucket. I don't think I've ever seen a first half like this for the Ponies. I've covered them for 3 years now. Good if it goes. 54-24. I was going to ask you, Olivia, and I guess I will before we go into the break. I'm sure you had your share of games like this in high school and college. How crazy is it, and how much fun is it to have a first half like Stillwater just did?
It is so much fun because then when you guys are just, everything is clicking on all ends of the ball, the defense, the offense. It makes it fun for everyone involved, and to just be up by a lot when you know you're doing the right thing is even better. Now there's the opposite end where now you go in the locker room, you break everything down of what can we do the second half to cut into this lead, but Stillwater has to be communicating of what can we do to build off of this lead and not get complacent.
54-24. We'll see what happens in the second half, but it's been all Stillwater so far. Twin Cities Sports Broadcasting and a whole lot more. That's what you get from TSB Television. We provide long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. Dazzling moves. Holloman, good if it goes. Yes! Game winners. James, she's in trouble. Finds James. Toss shot! It goes in! And everything in between. Before we let you go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Oh, I don't know. That put me on the spot there.
If you want to connect with our audience, visit us at patreon.com/TSB Television or sponsor our coverage through PayPal and Cash App. Thank you for watching. Mike Peden and Olivia Antilla with you. Olivia is texting all of her friends, telling the entire fan base of basketball fans out there how crazy this first half was.
It was such a crazy half for Stillwater. Just completely went on a run. It felt like especially those last 5 minutes of the first half.
The entire half, Liza Karlen still outscoring Cretin-Derham Hall by herself, 27 points. Her previous season high was 15. Alexis Pratt has 10. Only has 1 field goal. Not that she needs it.
Right.
And Amber Scalia with 8. But Stillwater with their length and their speed and the chemistry, it's making a big difference. And Cretin-Derham Hall, they're not a pushover team. Remember, they beat a St. Louis Park squad that has Kendall Coley, who is one of the top-rated juniors, and Reagan Alexander, a solid addition as well. So this Cretin-Derham Hall team, they picked up some wins, but Stillwater, they came to play.
They definitely did. It should be interesting to see how they attack this the second half, both teams.
And it was a big night for Amber's big sister. Just got the final. Minnesota beat George Washington 83-50. Sarah Scalia, 23 points. As you know, she's starting as a freshman.
Yes.
For Lindsay Whalen and the Gophers.
And we all know she can score. She is the all-time leading scorer here at Stillwater.
Broke that mark as a junior. And was part of the rebuilding project that turned Stillwater from a sub-500 program into a contender. Lost to Hopkins in the 4A championship a year ago. Well, Alexis Pratt can't make everything.
Right.
But Liza Karlen was there for another rebound. Amber Scalia for 3. Bullseye.
And again, she just cannot be left out there on the three-point line.
We're coming up on the Mercy Rule threshold. The Woodbury score didn't surprise me there. Stillwater won 97-69. Woodbury, they've got a couple of solid pieces, but not a lot surrounding it. Cretin-Derham Hall, this one surprised me a bit. When you look at their record, the resume, they beat St. Louis Park coming back from 10 down. And then the Orioles got the first win over Como Park in overtime.
Right, that was a really good game.
You attended that one?
I always get the updated highlights, having a few players on the team.
That's
so
right,
I
Chloe.
was in contact with people during the game, just checking in.
You better send folks highlights of Alexis Pratt.
Man, I've tweeted about her after the last time I saw her against Farmington, just emphasizing on her speed, her ability to finish at the basket, even with defenders there, with her size, and just how good of a defender she is.
As someone on YouTube commented, Alexis is so tough.
She is.
And spelled it Tuff, which is, you know what, that sounds about right.
Right. Oh.
Amber Scalia, she can play tough too. This might surprise you, but Amber crashes for rebounds. She's had 9 rebounds a couple of times already this season. You wouldn't expect that out of a 5'8" guard, but
right.
Delayla Chicolas comes to mind last year. 5'6", didn't bother her one bit.
Rebounding is definitely about heart, not about size.
I mean, it helps to have it. But
it does help to have it.
It's not. Oh my goodness. Can we go home now?
Right.
Sometimes everything is just clicking.
Right, and that's what, at the beginning of the game when we talked about Stillwater's shooting, they, from the beginning to now, they have consistently hit those three-point shots, which are hard to beat when you are playing defense the way you are and knocking down your threes.
When you're knocking down threes, if you're Stillwater, a lot can go your way. Meister.
Good extra.
That's her third triple from that spot. And it's good to see Nevaeh working her way back in this game. Liza Karlen off balance. Looked at TK like that should have been a foul, but we play on. Sydney Jackson, 3-ball corner pocket.
And this is exactly why Stillwater cannot get complacent. If Cretin, although they are down by 32, if they can make those three-pointers, they can turn it into a closer gapped game.
Not if
but
Gianna
not if
Carr.
Stillwater keeps making shots back.
Not if Gianna Carr has anything to say about it. Stillwater ball, 14:26 left.
34, Olivia Allen. Number 11, Anna.
How are you on the boards, Olivia? As I know you aren't the biggest post player.
I always found a way to make sure I got 7+ every game. Just whatever fell in my hands, and being the aggressive player I always managed to get enough rebounds.
No words necessary with Stillwater's three-point shooting. Just watch their stroke fall for points. TK Mason with the answer. And Stillwater calls a timeout. This has to be a silly question, Olivia, but why would you call a timeout when you're up by 34 and Liza Karlen has 30 points?
Because he's not happy. Even as a coach, when you're up by that much, when your team is not doing what they're supposed to be doing defensively, you can't let those things go in games like this, because practiced habits, those show up in tight games. And so I'm sure he's mad that people are still getting wide open shots.
Our camera guy, Abe, enjoying the music selection. Stillwater, they like to play a lot of 70s, 80s, pop, classic rock. I don't know what your pregame or your in-game music selection is. I'm not sure if this is part of it.
This is definitely not a part of it.
You're not a fan of Dexy's Midnight Runners?
No, unfortunately not.
Well, you know what? It was before your time. We'll give you a pass. It was early 80s. You weren't born yet.
Not even close.
You were what? You're a 90s kid, weren't you?
Yep. Good defense.
You were mentioning some of the kids you coach. One of them is at Como Park and had a birthday.
Yeah, she does. It is Chloe's birthday today. She's only 15, being a sophomore in high school.
Chloe Dimitrick, that's right. She's a year younger than everybody. And Dimitrick started at Columbia Heights, moved to Como Park. We'll be seeing them when they play Madison East. I was bummed. I had to do, I could have done Como Park, St. Louis Park. I did Hopkins Farmington, but with me, Cretin-Derham Hall calls a timeout. Well, this allows me to vent about how there's only one me and about 10 good games every night. And Hopkins Farmington, even though that wasn't an overtime thriller like Como Park, St. Louis Park was, any chance you get to call Paige Beckers? That crowd that I saw, near capacity. Patrick Royce of the Star Tribune was there. First time he had covered a high school game in 20 years. Paige Beckers is something special, and so is Liza Karlen.
And she just was announced the
USA.
Female USA Athlete of the Year, so congrats to her. That is a huge accomplishment and definitely a well-earned accomplishment.
I think just the second player to win that award in high school. And I asked Paige about this. Paige has a real modest attitude. By the way, is this something that would be on your playlist?
Not in my basketball playlist. It might show up on shuffle, like randomly.
This sounds more of your era. But Paige, so modest, doesn't have an ego about her. I've gotten to know her parents and the whole Hopkins team. Yes, we all talked about, is she the best ever? Is Hopkins the best team ever? They don't get into that. They just go out there, they play, they have fun. And the friendships that they built. Olivia Chacolis, even though she's at Hampton now, spoke highly of the relationship she built with Paige Beckers.
And that's what basketball can do for kids, is you really build, this is your family away from your family and who you end up spending a lot of your time with, especially on the college level. That is, that is 100% your family away from family.
TK Mason with the friendly Plinko bounce.
Mason for three.
That puts her up to 10. Stillwater still up by 33. In case you're wondering, Liza Karlen is no longer outscoring the Raiders. But she wants more.
She does. And how could you not, the way she's been hitting shots the entire game? She has been completely dominating.
Liza Karlen shoots 2.
30 points. Her season high was 15. And and Sherry Scalia is listening to, it's Tuesday, so I'm not sure what she's listening to. We're picking it up over here. Liza Karlen, she got the front end and the back end. Well, Liza is perfect except for one. I think, yeah, she's hit all but one of her free throws. 32 points. Olivia Allen too high off the glass. And Stillwater's going to run again. Here's Pratt. Pulls up. Rebound Scalia, and Pratt will get the bounce. Stillwater's big three is playing real big. Olivia Allen trying to get on the board. Olivia and I have been rendered speechless, folks.
Right.
What more is there to say? Karlen with the block. Mason trying to make something work. And to be fair, Cretin-Derham Hall, they're getting walloped right now, but they will be in their share of games.
They will, and it's definitely this. They are not giving up throughout this whole game. You haven't seen
Crystal Flint won't allow that
at all, but you haven't seen a lack of effort on either end. They're still sprinting the floor, doing what. Ooh. Two missed layups by Pratt, but that was a good move and a good effort by Karlen.
$34 points for Liza. I imagine she'll be pulled soon. You probably won't see the starters out there for too much longer. Meister is fouled and will shoot 2. We'll get to the mercy rule threshold at the 9-minute mark, so I don't know if you have any party plans. Well, just amazing. And speaking of St. Louis Park, they were in a lot of games, and that win over Como Park gave them their first win of the year. They've been oh so close so many times, including Cretin-Derham Hall, and it just goes to show that there's Liza Karlen going out. I'm not sure if we'll see her go back in. I mean, she's done more than enough.
Right.
With 34 points. Pratt to Holder for 3. And now Mary Foltz is getting offensive rebounds, and Grace Cody with another 3 ball from the corner. She's up to 12. Cody, as we noted, had that big quarterfinal and semifinal performance in state last year, and it was good for her. As we noted in the Farmington game, her mother, a member of the 1984 state tournament team, and it was cool to see a role player get a taste of the spotlight like that.
Right. And another steal for Pratt.
All right. All alone. In the words of Darth Vader, all too easy. Let's see if she gets one more. She outspeeds Meister. I'm laughing only at the absurdity of the score. I'm not laughing as a knock on Cretin-Derham Hall or any of the players. This is just insane.
It's definitely, like we've noted, a surprise that this game has ran away like it has.
I figured Stillwater had the edge. I didn't think it'd be like this. And they're still not done. Holder with a swipe. Cody, she wants more.
Same spot as before. Again, Stillwater has just been making shots the whole entire game.
And that can go a long way when everything is going down. In the blowouts I covered last year, one of them against Mounds View, Sarah Scalia hit 8 3-pointers. When Stillwater's knocking down threes, lots of magic. Olivia Allen finally gets on the board. 85-38. And we're going to see, well, yep, they're going to bring in the second stringers now. So if you're a parent that loves to see the role players get involved, as Pratt fires a 3-0, why not? Lizzie Holder scores with a lead of about 500 points. I'm kidding, it's 49. We're in the mercy rule threshold, so we'll be out of here in 8:53. Now, Olivia, we talked about how fun it is to be on the winning end of scores like these.
Right.
I imagine, well, you get to see Alexis Pratt streak down one more time. She has 20 points, and Willie Taylor is going to call a timeout to get his starters out of there. That's when you know everything is going your way.
Right.
When you have to call a timeout and get your guys out.
Exactly.
So the clock will stop with 8:40. Go ahead.
And I'm sure that's not a horrible problem to have as a coach.
So, Olivia, I imagine it was great to be on the winning end of scores like these, but I imagine you had your share of being on the other end of performances like these. So if you're Cretin-Derham Hall, tonight's not your night. It happens. How do you weather through a situation like this?
You finish the game strong, and then you go to the locker room and you game plan. I've always believed you can't do anything to get that game back, so what are we going to do to move forward now? The loss is in the past, but now we have to look at our mistakes, and like I'm assuming Coach Flint will do, troubleshoot. What did we do wrong? What can we do different? Because again, they are in the same conference and they may run into each other again. So it's what can we do moving forward in order for us to be the most successful team we can be.
Well, these two will meet again as Tootie Lewis hits the mid-range J. These two will meet again because they're conference opponents. Meister almost got the steal there. And January 28th, these two will square off once again. They are in the same section as well, so that is another thing to watch. But White Bear Lake comes to mind. Last year, Stillwater ran the floor against them in conference play. In the section final, White Bear Lake had a halftime lead. Stillwater worked their way back. The more times you play against somebody, the harder it can be to beat them, as Mater fires the three, can't connect. So let's go through some of these folks. You have Abby Hansen, Maya Tompkins, number 24, number 12, Abby Scheel, and 23, Lydia Knudsen. Mater with the steal, and Holder with the block. For you, Olivia, being a starter, I think for all of your high school career and being the leading scorer at Florida A&M for 2 years, when you had the chance, when you got to work a big lead or build up and got a chance to sit back for a while, how fun was it to watch the second stringers get in there and make some plays?
It is fun because then there's people who may not normally get opportunities to do their thing and have that moment to shine and get their points, and so that's always good when everyone is involved in a team win, and everyone got an opportunity to play, and you have to be happy for everyone on the team.
And I've noted this even in losing efforts. I did the Aquinas Eastview at the Thanksgiving tip-off at St. Thomas. Even though Eastview was getting pummeled, they had a bench player by the name of Hahn. That's Abby Klein, number 21. And they were jumping up and down, cheering. Caitlin Hahn, I think was their name. She had a couple of threes. It was inconsequential, but they still rooted for her anyway.
And that's what you love to see from a bench, is that from the top player all the way down, every single person is still cheering on the bench, no matter whether you're up by 30, down by 30, or it's a close game.
Abby Klein, number 21. She was listed as 14 in the program. That's why we couldn't figure out who she was. Lizzie Holder, over the backboard. She's embarrassed about that. Well, that'll go in the blooper reel.
Right, at the end of the season.
I think I asked you this back in July, Olivia, but for those who didn't watch your interview, what was the most embarrassing moment you had as a player?
Oh, I feel so on the spot. I don't even remember what I said back then.
I don't either.
I don't know. That's such a hard question because then all the years of basketball start just jumbling in your head together.
Let me guess, the most embarrassing moment was meeting me.
Definitely not.
Tootie Lewis gets a friendly bank off the glass. Tootie Lewis, a freshman, a name we'll be hearing a lot of over the next few years. Lizzie Holder, no good. And Cretin-Derham Hall, we mentioned a lot of experience on their side. In fact, a lot of connections to Minneapolis North. Crystal Flint was the coach at North for 3 years. Tisa Mitchell, an assistant with Crystal the last several years, won 2 state tournament titles at Minneapolis North in 98 and 99. That was the year when Tamara Moore, she was a senior in 98. You had Maury Horton the next year. I think both won Miss Basketball. And Brianna Edwards, a 2009 graduate, played Division I basketball at Providence, coached at Maranatha for a season as an assistant, came back And join Cretin-Derham Hall staff looks highly to Crystal Flint, except for the NBA.
Right.
And I say that because Brianna Edwards cannot stand LeBron James. Crystal Flint is a LeBron James fan.
See, that's such a hard thing because I feel like you either love LeBron or you hate LeBron. And then if you aren't a fan of him, you don't like people who are fans of him.
The two refuse to discuss it. So, and what makes matters worse is that the Lakers, who were Brianna's team when Kobe Bryant was there, as Lewis will shoot too,
is now the team with LeBron James.
And the Lakers have the best record in the NBA.
They do. And that is my problem right now as well.
Because you're a Kobe Bryant fan. That's
yes.
right. I grew up with Jordan. I watched Space Jam 50 times. Michael Jordan will always be my guy. Tootie Lewis will try to add to her total. Well, and even last year, you knew that this was going to be a rebuilding project of sorts for the Raiders. When I saw them play in the section semifinal, they didn't have a whole lot outside of Hottinger. They did get some help having Meister and Mason join the Raiders, but they've got some work to do. That being said, when these two meet in January, this may not be a 46-point game.
At all. A lot of season. It's just the beginning, so a lot of opportunity to build and grow, and all problems seem to work themselves out as the season goes on.
Now, we were mentioning Como Park earlier. I guess I should give them a plug because they will play Cretin-Derham Hall on Martin Luther King Day. Continuing a series that started when Crystal Flint coached at North. That's a traveling violation on number 43, Catherine Hardkey. Crystal Flint and Alexis Lawson, they know each other well and started an annual rivalry with North and Como Park when Crystal moved. That series eventually moved, so the two will meet on MLK Day, and getting, I think, her first bucket, at least in this one, Abby Scheel. Well, that's cool to see. And I think it's fitting that Flint and Alexis Lawson worked it out so that the two teams could play each other on Martin Luther King Day, with how much those two invest in issues of racial equality.
Yep. You always love to see when coaches they make things bigger than just basketball, because that's what this sport is. It provides more than just the sport and a platform for a lot of different things.
There's a steal and a score for number 23. Mary Marco, I believe. Well, Martin Luther King Day, a big one for basketball now, with the Fury doing their invites at St. Catherine. 38 seconds to go. Marco with another steal. And she'll add two more. Oh, fun to see Olivia. I hope you enjoyed the clinic.
Right?
Or I hope you like going to clinics, because that's what we got tonight.
We definitely did. And it was good to see for Stillwater how, when things are clicking in every way, they're going to be a tough team to beat if they can keep up this play of basketball throughout the season.
And the scores table a bit premature with the celebration music. Final seconds tick away. 91-47 the final. Liza Karlen, 34 points, smashing her previous season high of 15. Olivia, this game, a big indicator of Stillwater's potential. Friday's game with Roseville should be a lot of fun. But Stillwater, they're loaded, and they reminded everyone they are going to be tough in the Suburban East.
Exactly.
We'll try to get a word with Liza Karlen before we wrap things up. Stillwater with the 91-47 win over Cretin-Derham Hall. And I'm joined by Liza Karlen. Liza, 34 points tonight. Entering this game, your previous season high was 15. You took care of that in a big way in the first half. What would you make of this runaway performance?
I don't know. It's just kind of like a mentality to go out and do whatever you can for a win. And obviously I had a mismatch down low. CDH isn't very big, so I think it's important to take advantage of that when you see the opportunity and just execute.
And it wasn't just a mismatch down low. Everything was working for the Ponies. 3-pointers. Alexis Pratt had a few runouts. And you hit all but one of your free throws on top of that. When everything is clicking, how fun is it to be out there and watch the results unfold?
You know, I think it's awesome. I mean, obviously it's great when you're hitting shots, but just like when you're finally starting to click as a team, I mean, if it wasn't me, if it was Alexis scoring 30 or Amber scoring 30, I mean, our team is great either way. I mean, anyone has the capability, I think, from the starting lineup to score those type of points, especially Alexis and Amber. So, I mean, I think it's important that we stay versatile and we continue to keep the chemistry going throughout the season.
In a way, I think it's poetic because last year it was around the time where you and I had our little gig about free throws. Tonight you were 8 of 17 going in, and that number is going to go up in a big way. How long does it take for you to get back into basketball mode? Because I know you do swimming, and I hear it can take a little while to go from swimming legs to basketball legs. Do you feel like you're back on the floor now?
You know, I'm getting there. There's still a few moments in the game where Coach Taylor had to take me out for a couple minutes and just be like, catch your breath. But I think it's coming. Obviously, it doesn't come overnight. So hopefully going into January, I'll be in full swing again. But, I mean, you can definitely see it's coming along.
You and Alexis Pratt, you're the leaders now after Sarah moved on to the Gophers. So how do you think the chemistry from last year has rolled over to this year, and how is that helping Stillwater score some big wins early in the Suburban East?
I mean, I think it was a little rocky at first. It was definitely good that we had some hard teams to really push us into getting the chemistry going faster than what it usually is, just because the team dynamics, I think, were a little off in the beginning of the season, just based off the fact that this team has kind of depended on Scalia for so long that when we lost Sarah, it kind of took us a little while to get back in the swing of things. But, yeah, I just think when we played Park Center in Farmington, that forced us to get the chemistry going faster, and it's definitely helping us now in conference play.
All right. You want to say hi to anybody?
Hi to my parents and all the Stillwater fans that came out tonight. It means a lot.
All the fans that came out, and if YouTube is any indication, there are a lot of Stillwater fans across the world. So I'm sure a lot are going to see your 34 points and wonder, where did this kid come from? Of course, you'll get to see her at Marquette next year alongside some other Minnesota names in the Big East. But first, you got to get through this season with Stillwater. Congrats on this performance. I guess we'll see if you can get another 30 spot on Friday with Roseville.
Great. Thank you so much, Mike.
That's Liza Karlen, 34 points, and that wraps up our coverage from here at the Stable in Oak Park Heights. For Olivia, Antilla, and the rest of our crew, I'm Mike Peden. Thanks for watching.